Today, we're going to be talking about social media content trends for 2023 and why it's important. So I'm Bex from Social Media Executive, and I train businesses how to effectively use social media. And you'll find me live here every Monday at 12:30 doing a live stream as part of the Social Flock, which is our social media content support group. So again, if we're watching, please do give this a thumbs up. Let me know you're there. Ask any questions as we go in the chat as we go along. And again, if you're watching on catch up, just pop a little comment in the bottom so I know you've watched it, and ask any questions as well, and I can always come back to those questions afterwards. So 2023, there are a number of different content trends that are happening, and actually a really interesting one that I've been dabbling with that's going to help a lot of my members in the Social Flock write their social media content, which I'm actually going to talk about at the end, because this content trend is something I've actually used today to actually create today's live stream. So again, I'll talk to you about the end, because this is going to revolutionize our content marketing and really help to streamline our services. Hi Emma, thanks for saying hello. Okay, so the first thing then I want to talk about with content, and massively trending, and it has been for a while now, but it is brand responsibility, transparency and authenticity. And what do I mean by that? Because it sounds like a lot of jargon. But basically what that means is consumers now are looking for authentic brands. They are looking to buy off real people. There is so much fraud, and I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of fraud across social media. There's a lot of companies that pretend to be who they are, and they hide behind a beautiful brand. And actually, you can create a social media platform one week, and then you can promote what you do through a lot of advertising, and then the next week it kind of disappeared and have gone and taken a lot of money. This happens particularly in e-commerce. So now people are getting savvy to this. They're wanting to see that brands are authentic on social media. They want to see that there are real people behind the brand. And it's becoming a little bit more informal as well. They want to know what your values are as a business. They want to know who your staff are and who you are likely to be talking to. So when you're creating your social media content, try and think about how you can be a little bit more transparent about what you do, and also how can you come across as a little bit more authentic. Again, if you're a member of the Social Flock, this is something that we'll be looking at in a lot more detail this year. How do we come across as authentic and transparent? So that's one of the brands. And another of the brands, because people who are watching and looking at our content are becoming a lot more savvy, they're also becoming and realizing that they want to be a lot more private and secure on their social media. So we're seeing a lot more trends of social media platforms encouraging things like two-factor authentication when you log in and things like that, because consumers are wanting to protect their data. We've seen the iPhone asking consumers if they want to opt out of tracking and things like that. And actually, the Cisco report reported that 86% of consumers care about data privacy. So now what does that mean for our content? Really what we're looking at is a trend towards maybe more private messaging functions with the content, less clicking through to an anonymous link, but more keeping people on the platform and having real-time conversations, and not necessarily asking our consumers for too much data or information. We need to build that trust first, okay? And really think about making sure that our potential customers are feeling safe and secure, okay? Oh, hi Sam, thanks for saying hello. Okay, so the third trend I want to talk about is short-lived, in-the-moment content. Social media is becoming a little bit like that fly on the wall. People are wanting to know what's going on in the business. People are wanting to know little snapshots of what the companies are doing. And people are really genuinely interested in this. So thinking about short-lived content, which is going to trend for 2023 and is predicted to trend. So I'm talking about stories. So Instagram stories and Facebook stories, where it's only up there for 24 hours and then it disappears. So it's not necessarily content that you post on your timeline. Okay. You've got Snapchat, you've got things like Be Real. Be Real is something I've come across recently. And it's very, very popular. It's a social media platform where you all post at the same time of the day. It tells you when to post, and you post an authentic picture of yourself, warts and all, of what you're doing. And it takes a picture of your face and what you're actually looking at. It uses both cameras, which is quite interesting. People are wanting that authenticity, that transparency now on social media. And again, it does help to build that trust as well. Okay, so again, if you've got any insights or anything, do post them in the chat. Any ideas, do let me know. But the fourth thing as well I wanted to talk about was AR. AR, what on earth is AR? Augmented reality. What on earth is augmented reality? Well, it's the step before virtual reality. So basically, it's taking your posts and maybe jazzing them up a little bit. So AR, augmented reality, is maybe you've got a carousel of images and you put a bit of music on it to make it a bit more interesting. Basically making your posts and content a bit more engaging and entertaining, to stop people scrolling through the feed and to really have a think about, how can we make our content stand out? How can we entertain our target market a little bit more by maybe adding a few jazzy little features onto it? And again, there's really easily, TikTok is amazing at this, Instagram, all the stories and the features, they've all got tools on there to make your content a little bit more engaging. Okay. Now, the fifth one is, which links to augmented reality slightly, is gamification. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about gamification because I've got Kimber Cooper, who's joining us on the live stream on next Monday, and she's going to talk about how gamification can absolutely massively increase the reach of your content and how simple it is to add into this and add into your content strategy. So do join me next week. We'll be talking about gamification next week. Okay. But linked to, we've talked a little bit about video. So video is basically what is going to trend for this year without a doubt, and everyone is agreeing to it. And Hootsuite is massively predicting that short form video is going to be the trending content this year. And what is short form video? What is short form video? Basically, short form video is any videos really between 15 seconds to 5 minutes. And actually, I'd argue really anything under 2 minutes is a fantastic short form video. So basically, thinking about TikTok. So Hootsuite predicts that TikTok is going to be the #1 social media platform for 2023. Now, I'm not so sure about this. I'm not sure whether I agree with that totally, because it's a very specific audience. And us as businesses, I don't think a lot of small businesses are actually ready to be creating at least 3 videos on TikTok, okay? Particularly short form videos. So a short form video is recorded portrait in your phone. And it's just a very short video. You're capturing people's attention within those first couple of seconds, and then they're watching it. It can be an informative video, an entertaining video. You could be talking about a particular product, anything really. But people are massively, massively consuming lots of this short form video. You've now got short form YouTube Shorts to complete with TikTok. You've got Instagram Reels. You've got Facebook Reels. So there's all this short form video that is absolutely exploding. So if you've not yet ventured into video, have a think about creating this year and dabbling with a few short videos. And again, we'll be sharing lots of tips and advice in the Social Flock to create short videos. And if you don't know about the Social Flock, it's a content support group. It's only £45 a month, and we all come together and we write our social media content together. Now, the next trend I want to talk about is influencers. Okay. Oh, before we go on to that, what is the ideal length for a short form video? Well, basically, for a short form video, the ideal length is really as short as possible, because the social media platforms are looking at percentage time watched. So if you've got a video that's 100 seconds long, then if people watch 50% of it, they're only watching 50 seconds. But if it's 300 seconds long, 50%, you've got to capture their attention for a lot longer. So I always would say test the market, but the shorter the better, because you want to get the highest length of percentage watch time. Okay. So micro influencers. Oh gosh, I'm coming out with all the buzzwords today. So what are micro influencers? What are influencers? Well, influencers are basically companies that might have a strong social media following, and you as a business think, maybe we'll team up with so-and-so, and we will give them our products to show on their social media pages, because they have their audience are likely to want to buy our products and services. Okay, so really think about micro influencers. People have always thought, I must get my content in front of mega influencers, big influencers that have got hundreds of thousands of followers. But actually, it's very, very expensive. And what you tend to find is the more followers you've got, the less percentage of people who are actually engaged with that brand. Whereas organizations are realizing that micro influencers that might just have a few thousand followers are much more niche. They have a niche audience. So if you've got a nice niche product, tapping into this niche audience really helps. So I've got a client who sells role play game tiles, for example. So we tap into micro influencers who talk to Dungeons and Dragons masters, who basically create these games, and everyone watching will potentially want to buy these products. So they'll only have a few thousand followers, but they're very, very targeted. So if you're looking at your content this year and you want to sort of marry up and join up with other organizations that might be able to help, then look for those smaller platforms that have got a smaller number of followers, but are very targeted and having a very engaged audience. Okay. So the next one before I finish, before I talk about how I actually created today's live stream, which is really exciting. But the next one that I want to talk about is shoppable posts. Oh my goodness, what does shoppable posts mean? Well, you can now create a shop on Facebook and Instagram, and you have done for a while, and you can list your products on those platforms, and basically the consumer can buy straight off you on Facebook without going to another link. So basically, Facebook has established a platform whereby people don't have to come off Facebook to buy stuff from people they like from those platforms. And TikTok, we've seen the launch of TikTok shops as well. So again, the trend really for your content on social media, if you've got physical products that you want to sell, then actually creating shops on your social media platforms is likely to give you a much better return than just trying to put a link in your post and sending them off to your website, which really doesn't work well at all, because you're encouraging people off the platform. So shoppable posts, because you can create a post, and if you've got a shop on Facebook or TikTok, you can then write your post and you can tag it in so people click straight through into that product. And you can, if you've got a number of products on one image, you can create lots of little shop tags so you can tag in and click through to all of them. So a fantastic way to increase the reach of your products. Okay, so my final one, this one has been a lot in the news recently, and this is actually, I've been dabbling in recently, and I've used this content innovation to create really some of the key themes I wanted to talk to you all about today. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about artificial intelligence, okay? Alexander, you beat me to it, you see. You've predicted what I'm going to say. Okay, so this is my final one. So today I've used what we call chat. It's basically Chat GPT. So what I did was I It's basically a platform you can go into, and I typed in social media trends for 2023, and it basically wrote a brief blog for me, and within that I can then ask questions about it. Okay, now this is a phenomenal time saver, and I couldn't believe how accurate they are, because I've used automated artificial intelligence before a few years ago, and they were absolutely pants. They were rubbish. But now we've got loads of different platforms. I've also tried Barely AI as well. I've been playing about with that for sort of headlines, and that's really makes some nice bullet points if you're writing a blog talking about key themes. But basically, we've now got this artificial intelligence, and people are going, oh no, we can't do it. It's not real. So my advice really, and my predictions for 2023 is that this artificial intelligence is only going to increase, because we have little time on social media. We don't have that much time. And if we're a small business, then elements and automations like these can massively save time. So I could write a post on social media and just type it in, and it'll write me a post, okay? And if you didn't like it, you can get different variations, and you can cut and paste and pop it in there. But it's very, very clever, because it's automatically thinking about the consumer, how people respond. Let's face it, these programs are so advanced now, they're actually more intelligent to a certain point than we are. Okay. Oh, so Alex says he's been using the AI, super impressed. Yeah. And you do have to be careful, because it's got to sound like your tone of voice. But for saving time, it's amazing. And I'd just like to finish by saying these artificial intelligence tools are fantastic, but they are not the answer to your whole social media strategy. They should be used as part of your social media strategy. So a great tool to create content, but you still need to see whether that content is resonating with your customer. You still need to look at the insights. It's not going to do everything for you. And actually, a huge part of your social media content strategy this year should be about engagement. It's about building communities, and just creating artificial content through an AI and popping it on your social media is not going to grow your social media. 50% of your strategy on social media really should be about engagement. It's about building communities, and that is all only going to grow. Okay. So Ben's just put, do you not think AI is fueling more AI to the point where the social media platforms are not worth using? Yeah, absolutely. And that is why I always say you've got to use and make that balance. At the end of the day, social media is about being social. It's about being authentic. It's about being transparent. And just using one AI tool is not being authentic or transparent. Okay. It's being, it's helping us to achieve what we want to achieve. So that can form part of your content strategy, but a huge part of your content mix should be about being authentic. What's happening in the business? What you're doing today? Where have you been out and about? And an AI can't write that for you. So I think going forward, it's about creating that mix and creating that nice content mix that will help you to be consistent on social media, but also you still need to be quite authentic on there. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. Those are my predictions for 2023, as well as the predictions of ChatGPT as well. And I did do a little bit more research around that as well. So next week, we are talking about gamification. What is gamification? What does it mean? And how can you use it in your content strategy? So please do join us. We've got guest expert Kimber Cooper, who focuses on gamification for social media, and she'll be talking about the benefits and how she's managed to transform some social media platforms and get great results. So I do hope you'll be joining us. We'll be live again at 12:30 next week. And if you have not part of the Social Flock and you've not heard of the Social Flock, we all come together, we write our social media posts together on a Monday, be it using the AI or being it using authentic posts. We also have regular webinars throughout the month. This month we are looking at engagement, so we'll be teaching all our Social Flock members how to increase engagement on their social media posts. We also have our Meet the Flock sessions where we come together and talk about some of our challenges on social media and help solve those. And it's all hosted in a private Facebook group where we can be, where we can talk and share and support each other with our social media content. So if you're interested in joining the Social Flock, it's only £45 a month and it includes everything I've said. And it would be lovely to have you join. And I will just put the link in the comments and you can have a look. In the meantime, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and we will see you all again next week at 12:30 to talk about gamification. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. Bye.